for hosting the Paralympic Games and is faced with a significant challenge, the accessibility of its public transit. Of the city's 16 subway lines, only one is totally accessible. The Paralympics start August 28th of next year, and the city is under pressure to find solutions. Both the Games organizers as well as wheelchair-bound athletes see the Paris Paralympics bring about durable change. Former wheelchair tennis gold medalist Michael Jeremias says the Paralympics will be an exciting celebration, but afterwards, life and the constraints of daily life take over. The Trans-Siberian Orchestra has announced a North American tour, so you can ring in the holiday season with a headbang. Sure, it may be a bit early to talk the holidays, but it's never too early to plan ahead. The Ghosts of Christmas Eve tour will bring the group's hybrid of heavy metal, classical, theater production, pyrotechnics, and laser light show to 62 cities over 104 performances in both matinee and evening sets this year. It kicks off November 15th and runs through December with one stop in Canada in Toronto for 2 shows on December 3rd, as well as dozens more in border cities across the U.S. This is City News. I'm Scott Burnett.
At the City News Business Center, I'm Ari Rabinovich. A money-maker Monday for both sides of the border, ahead of a key economic report later this week in the U.S. For the August jobs. Investors are anticipating that it could show a cooling of the economy, and last week U.S. Fed Chair Jerome Powell suggested that with a cooling economy, the central bank would proceed carefully on interest rates. So there was some motivation, it seemed, on markets. The Dow Jones was up 213, the S&P 500 gained 28 points, and the Nasdaq by 114, or just over 0.8%. Now, shares in American Airlines were up and down throughout the session on news that the U.S. Transportation Department fined the company for more than $4 million for violating federal rules stemming from 43 domestic flights from 2018 to 2021, in which passengers were stuck on the tarmac for more than 3 hours without being given a chance to deplane. At the end of trading, the stock gained 1%. Now, the TSX was up by almost 1% at 20,025, 189 points higher, possibly a bit of a ripple effect from the optimism in the U.S. The price for oil up 27 cents at just over $80 the barrel. Gold futures $1,947 the ounce, a gain of $7. Our dollar, the loonie, flat at 70.
Week. Absolutely beautiful weather. Of course, we'll get you a full weather update, but I'm just looking. A little bit of a dip on Wednesday, and then we go up to like Thursday. It's showing 24 degrees. I'm just looking. Onek down there was great. Fantastic weather. Perfect day to be on the water. Hope you had a chance to get outside yourselves and enjoy some of the great spots in and around the Ottawa region. What are we looking at today? What stories are we following this morning? Well, kids, shut your ears. You may not want to hear this, but back to school is upon us. Of course, most OC transport in sort of the behind comes the first for 3
to start the year, or does some that you have
can't block anybody. Dustin Crum is running for until it's the waterways and
continue these negotiations
last weekend doing that. So.
To and from school, and of course, this is a lot of stress for many parents. I believe we have Chris back with us. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Derek. Yeah, the uncertainty begins with getting students to school.
In your local pool. Andrew, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thanks for catching up. Hey, our Chris Curries is on the city beat again this week. He'll be back in just a few minutes on that. We're going to take back to school, of course, means that many students are looking for transportation to get, to and from school. And of course, this is a lot of stress for many parents. I believe we have Chris back with us. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Derek. Yeah, the uncertainty begins with getting students
in your local pool. Andrew, always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thanks for catching up. Hey, our Chris Curries is on the city beat again this week. He'll be back in just a few minutes on that. We're going to take back to school, of course, means that many students are looking for transportation to get, to and from school. And of course, this is a lot of stress for many parents. I believe we have Chris back with us. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Derek. Yeah, the uncertainty begins with getting students to school. We've spoken about it for months and years. You've likely heard about it and seen it yourselves, but there's a massive shortage of bus drivers. The Ottawa Student Transportation Authority, which manages the buses in the Ottawa area, says they're only set to open the parent portal on Wednesday due to operational pressures. The Student Transportation of Eastern Ontario that manages buses for the Upper Canada District School Board and the Catholic District School Board of Eastern Ontario put out a note last week that warned of possible disruptions to their usual service. And it's because the two sides lost in a contract dispute. Frank Healy, the president of Healy Transportation and spokesperson for the operators, spoke early last week to City News about where things stood.
The operator group's been in discussions with STIO for several months now about rates and term of contract, et cetera, going forward. Our current one expires the end of this month, August, and we had